This is Anthony Morore, and you're tuned to Now Tell Us. Now, at Now Tell Us, we get to have authors and speakers. We get to have uh, other people come and give us talks. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us. We all have all kinds of people who are coming here just to tell us because we love stories and all we do is listen. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a challenge in your life that you almost thought of giving up? You almost thought of never trying to overcome it, but then eventually you overcame it somehow. Our guest today is going to tell us something that I don't think any of us who is listening or watching has been there. I don't think you any of us who's listening or watching has had such a challenge as our guest has had. And the challenge did not stop him from becoming the best version of himself. And I want to take one more minute because I'm going to go and meet with our guest today, who is known as Kevin McShan. And now let's go to the show. Here we go. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Anthony. It's great to be with you this afternoon. Great to see you today. And
Whoa.
thank you for the opportunity to join you today. It's most appreciated.
Yes, I'm most excited to have you on my show today. And we are glad that you are here because you are going to tell us something that we are waiting to hear. Uh, where are you? If I may start there, where are you? Tell us.
So, yeah, Anthony, I live in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, the city right across the river from Detroit.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love seeing Canada. But one thing that I'm fearful of Canada is the snow. When it snows, and I understand that it snows for the most part of the year. Is it? How many months does it snow?
Yeah, it snows from about October to March. So we value summer more than most people, right?
Yeah, I get that. And I wish you all the best. So now the cold has already started. It's just starting where I am now. I am right now in Athens, Greece. It's just starting, but it doesn't get as cold as Canada.
Well, sometimes I think we need to send me a plane ticket so I can join you in Greece. So it's not so cold, right?
Yeah, it's not so cold. It would be an honor to have you close here to come and enjoy the summer here. It's always a bright time. Now, uh, let's go right into the story that you have to tell us because I saw your story and I said, oh, now someone's got to listen to this story and gonna get some lessons from this story. I know you've been here for quite some time on this planet, and you've gone through challenges, you've had experiences that you've had to overcome, and you are triumphant in anything that you choose to do, despite the challenges that you may face. Now, tell us about your birth, about your growing up in your early childhood.
Yeah, sure. So, Anthony, I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. Simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. But, Anthony, I always say that I can either work for my circumstances or have my circumstances work for me. And all of my life, I look at barriers as determinants to progress. So I've always tried not to make my disability a reason for not achieving something. So, I always tell people it may not always look aesthetically pleasing, but as long as it's effective, the name of the game, right? So
mhm. So, now in your position or condition, what are the things that you can't do, that you found that you can't do from your early age?
well, yeah, I'll tell you. Anthony, I found out at 9 years old that I wouldn't be able to walk normally without the assistance of a walker or get around without the assistance of a wheelchair. But I've always looked at my disability as a different perspective and a way of looking at the world from a different angle because folks with disabilities have to solve problems and overcome obstacles every day. So it's just another way for me to innovate, help the world reach another level of innovation. Because when we look at challenges and difficulties in the world, that we all have them, but it's incumbent upon all of us to sort of write our own response to those challenges, and that's what I've tried to do throughout the duration of my life.
Mm. Now, for those who are listening to us or watching us, now you should know Kevin is living what he is talking, because at the beginning of this episode, we had some technical challenges, and I could imagine and I thought of the challenges that Kevin was going through to get them fixed. And I was thinking, oh, maybe he's gonna give up. And he says, no, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll. That confidence and that strength of will is commendable.
Well, I'll tell you, Anthony, I appreciate the compliment, and I'll tell you that technology is wonderful when it works, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Uh-huh.
But yeah, overcoming obstacles is something that we all have in life, whether it be technical or life challenges. It's all in the degree of the response. And what I mean by that is we all have to be motivated to write our own sort of story of destiny. And I always tell people that portraits of success and individual portraits of success are always different, right? So I think that the only level of expectation that you have to reach is your own, and it's hard um, to have a level of expectations if your fuel in terms of capturing those expectations is empty. So it's always important for me to make sure that my fuel of expectations and desires is always full, because then you have a standard of excellence or expectations to aspire to, right? And it's different for all people, for sure.
Mm. Now, how was it growing up? Did you go to a normal school like every other person, or did you go to a special school like I see many other children go to?
Yeah, so for the first few years of my life, I went to Children's Treatment Center called John McGivney Children's Center, and
Mhm.
then from kindergarten to grade 3, I went to a normal elementary school, and then throughout the rest of my time there, I went through normal elementary school, and during my time in mainstream school, I also received therapy and occupational and physical therapy from the John McGivney Children's Center. So, yeah, I went through mainstream school, but I
Mhm.
also received services from a children's treatment center until I was 21.
Mm. And how were you received by the other children? And I can imagine at elementary school, many children are innocent and many even don't understand your challenges that you're going through. How was it with the other children as you were growing up?
Well, when you're in a big power wheelchair, Anthony, you're kind of hard to miss. So, I always tried to get people to gravitate towards me because if you can educate other people on the power of inclusion and independence, one of the tenets that I live my life by is that inclusion is the gateway to independence. And I truly believe that if we can bring people together, it's a much more uh, welcoming society in terms of uh, trying to get other people to understand that the value of diversity and perspective goes a long way because it extends the knowledge base of understanding. So throughout my life, I've always tried to bring people together. One of the reasons I wanted to start my own podcast is, when we look at society today, there are so many bridges that uh, bring us apart. So, one of the things that I'm motivated by is to have uh, conversations that move the needle of progress forward because I believe that if you can move the needle of progress forward in societal life, that everybody wins. So you don't always have to agree with everyone you talk to, but if you understand the direction and the sort of a thought process, you can have a robust conversation that hopefully brings commonality and understanding through two different perspectives for sure.
Mm. Now, on the issue of people not being in agreement with everything that you do, everything you say, and in agreement of or acceptance of your condition, still at the age of growing up, did you ever get bullied? Did some people say some things that could bring you down, your moods down, or things like that?
Yeah, and the best way that I can answer that question is that growing up, I dealt with and to some degree, I still deal with social isolation to this day. But you learn to get through it, and you learn to persevere, and you learn that the strength in the struggle is that you find ways to reinvent the way that you uh, perceive the world. And what I mean by that is uh, we all go through challenges and hardships in life, but again, the response to the adversity will define the character or in which you stand on and the foundation in which you pour for your life. So, uh, yeah, in terms of growing up with a disability, uh, I originally went to school to become a sports reporter, and one of the reasons I wanted to do that was because I couldn't play sports, but uh, I could talk about them. So I wanted to go to school to become a sports reporter. And, Anthony, a lot of people call me an inspirational person. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I simply tell them that I'm living my life, and if I can inspire through setting an example, I guess that would be sort of the legacy or what I would want to leave behind in terms of inspiring through examples of positive change, I guess, and that's the way I look at overcoming obstacles, inspiring to find ways to overcome adversity to spur positive change, for sure.
Hmm. And I like the fact that you, even in this conversation, you try not to focus on those negative things that could have happened, and you focus on what you would do that can inspire the other person. Now, let me know, until what level of education did you reach?
Yeah, so I graduated college with a journalism a diploma. So I did graduate college, and we're talking about overcoming obstacles and perseverance. You know,
Yeah.
Anthony, I always tell people that excuses in life uh, are deterrents to progress. So I always tell people that I don't have time for excuses, only time for solutions, because I truly believe that making excuses is simply a deterrent to progress. So
Mm-hmm.
for sure, I always look at the positive side of people because you know it takes a lot less energy to be positive about something than negative about something. And if you look for the positive in people, you can look for a common ground of understanding a lot faster, for sure.
Mm. Wonderful. That's wonderful. And it's good that people are listening and they are hearing this and watching you and appreciating that you look beautiful and you're confident with whatever that it is that we are facing on a daily. Now, how was it? Coming on to that aspect, how was it during the tough time that we all faced in the past 3 years during the pandemic?
Well, I'll tell you, the pandemic allowed me to start the podcast that I host because I told myself, Anthony, that there was only so much Netflix I could watch in a day. So I wanted
Mhm.
to challenge myself to have conversations of what I call consequence and moving the needle forward towards progress. So I started the my podcast that I currently host. Let's have this conversation because I wanted a chance to really diversify our understanding about societal issues and everything in between. And so I allow myself to look at the pandemic as a chance to uh, continue the conversation towards progress. I mean, we all had to be in the house for about 2 years, so like we're doing today, to have thought-provoking conversations that move sort of the conversation forward is how I got through the pandemic because I believe that the power of authentic human connection is really powerful and something that we should all aspire to achieve while we're living because moving forward as one is a lot more exciting and thought provoking than moving forward as one divided, right? So that's how I
Mhm.
got through the
Mhm.
pandemic for sure.
Wow, and I love that you came out with something positive from something that was a big challenge to many people. When I hear stories of that nature, of how the past 2 3 years have been, and I hear people came out positive. They came out with a new project. They came out having achieved something that they would not have imagined before. I'm always encouraged, and I believe the listener and the viewer is always encouraged. Is also encouraged by hearing your story. That's when you started a podcast. How many episodes are we in?
So I started the podcast in May of 2020, and I've recorded a total of 580 episodes.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought I'm doing many episodes. I now counting 100 and I think 50, 60 there. I thought I've done many. Now you've done quite a number of episodes. So, oh, that's wonderful.
Well, and we can always continue to raise the bar towards progress, right?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So, and when I was looking at your profile, I see you've done so many things. Can you not only the podcast and not only what we've discussed up to this minute. Let's hear of other things that you are doing or you have done previously.
Yeah, so a big part of my professional background has to do with advocating for individuals with disabilities as it pertains to employment equality.
Mm-hmm.
Because I truly believe that folks with disabilities are an untapped segment of our population. And so I've served as a job developer for the YMCA. I've also served as the ambassador for a program called the Discoverability Network, which is the province of Ontario's new online job matching portal for
Mm-hmm.
individuals with disabilities and employers to get connected. I do some motivational speaking in the realm of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it's important to me, again, to bring people together rather than finding ways to pull them apart. So that's just a little bit about the work that I've done and some of my professional passions in life.
Yeah, and you keep going. Now, who is your motivation? Who inspires you? Who are your mentors? And what can you tell the people about having someone to look up to?
I do think that positive role models are important. I have a few personal role models, and I'll give those to you in just a second. But I really think that mentorship is um, a pillar of progress, and what I mean by that is people uh, have to sort of set their own expectations of what it is for them that, that defines success. But having said that, mentorship is important because it allows you to really understand um, uh, other perspectives from other uh, people, which allows you to form a more what I hope anyway is a more wholesome and fuller perspective on how the world works. I have an identical twin brother, and Keith and I were both born with cerebral palsy. My brother grew out of his cerebral palsy when he was 4.5, when we were 4.5 months old. So my brother Keith is certainly a mentor for me. Uh, I also credit the sports director and radio voice of the Detroit Lions. Dan Miller is one of my professional mentors. So Dan's one. Certainly, uh, one mentor I had in college, his name was Ryan Peebles, and he served as one of my primary um, disability advisors while I was in college, and I really credit Ryan for a big chunk of my collegiate success. So I've got a few mentors. I've also got two sisters, one older and one younger, and certainly they play a big part of my life. And my parents certainly are a big part of who I am today. In my house, Anthony, we always say, reach for the top of your fullest potential and eliminate bridges towards an excuse. So, you know, uh, ambition is certainly one of the greatest points of um,
Hmm.
what fuels me to be successful for sure.
Wow. Yeah, it's very good if you have a supportive family and if every person who's listening or watching has a supportive family. It's something to be thankful to God about. Now, do you like reading? Are you a reader?
Yeah, I'm more of an audio book kind of a guy. In terms of reading, I enjoy reading through stories like autobiographies of people, uh, because I really believe that's way to broaden a perspective when you look at life through the lenses of other people, for sure.
Hmm. Which has been your favorite, if I may be? Yeah.
I really enjoyed Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, and her life story, and certainly being the first African American first lady was certainly something that I was fascinated by in terms of her story and really overcoming the obstacles that arose from becoming the first female uh, African American first lady. So certainly that I read Regis Philbin's book when he became the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So certainly autobiographies for me are the way to go, for sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now you inspired to clear this book.
Okay.
You inspire me to clear to finish reading it.
Yes, you have to finish. It's a great book. You should finish reading it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to read other people's stories and know how they faced life, get their perspective on, and get some ideas on how to face your challenges, how to go for the top, as you are always encouraged in your family to go to your highest potential. That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, everyone's, as I told you earlier, Anthony, the only expectations you have to reach are your own. Because if you spend all of your life trying to reach the expectations of other people, it's
Mhm.
been my experience and my belief that you never discover who you are individually as a person. So that's why it's always important for me to set my own level of personal expectations, for sure. Because if you don't have a personal level of expectation, then aspiring to reach somebody else's version is a tad superficial and not as authentic as reaching your own, for sure.
Mm. Now, what's in the future? What's in the plans? What are the big dreams that you have?
Yeah, so one of the big dreams that I have is turning the podcast that I currently host, Let's Have This Conversation, into a national talk show. Certainly to continue to have more speaking engagements that allow me to continue to contribute to the conversation of progress. That's how I live my life, as many ways as I can contribute to the conversation of progress is how I want to be remembered and how I want to continue to move my own meter of progress forward, for sure.
That's beautiful, and we wish you all the best. I pray that you achieve that big dream of yours. It's possible. Go for it.
Well, yes, anything in life is possible as long as you have the motivation and the wherewithal to uh, keep your eyes focused on the prize. And when people tell me that they want to reach expectations, I always tell them embrace the process, because the process is defined differently for all of us, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. So, um, this is just about it for today's show. We are really inspired by your story. We appreciate you taking your time and being here with us to tell us. And before we get to go, we would like to know how can people follow up with you, with what you do, with yeah, tell us.
Yeah, no problem. So anybody that wants to get connected to me can go to kevinmcshan.com. They can also follow me on YouTube under my name, Kevin McShan, or the a show that I host. Let's have this conversation on YouTube. if you just type in "Let's have this conversation" and then my name afterwards, all my stuff comes up, and all of my contact information, as I said before, is on kevinmcshan.com.
Yes, and is actually um, well, YouTube channel is actually linked in the show notes. So if you'd like to go and check on the YouTube channel of Kevin, you can get it in the show notes. And I also fished his website right now, and it's going to be shown to you if you didn't get it. That's www.kevinmcshan.com. Go and connect with Kevin and follow up with what he's doing, get more inspired, or maybe join hands together with Kevin and achieve some great things. And now Kevin is on demand, so we are just going to end this show.
Well, Anthony, I have to tell you, it was a real pleasure to be with you this morning. Continue the great work that you do, and it was a real privilege to engage in conversation with you this afternoon. So, thank you so very much for having me. It's most appreciated.
It's such an honor to have you here. Now, tell us a few words that we should always remember before you go. Some words that we should always remember.
Yeah. So my thing is, to always challenge yourself to reach the greatest heights of your own potential and maximize the height of the journey. And what I mean by that is maximize your abilities to embrace experiences and really experience everything life has to offer for sure.
Wow, God, he has potential, says Kevin McShan. And you say you had this from him right here at nowtellus.com. Yeah, that's been a great time. And we appreciate you, Kevin, for telling us everything that you've told us on our show. And that's about it, our dear fans. We thank you. We appreciate your time. We thank you for taking this hour and watching our show. And I've been your host, Anthony Morore. And together with our guest today, Kevin McShan, we are saying bye for now.
Bye, everybody.